Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Why We Build. I'm your host, Ron Sheth. You can go follow us across all platforms. So we are on YouTube, we're on Instagram, Facebook. We're going to be on Spotify podcast and Apple podcast. So please go subscribe. Also, if you are a small business, a creator, an entrepreneur, if you would like to sponsor an episode, please reach out to me. It's going to be ron@humanize.com. Reach out when you're ready. We'd love to give you a shout out. A whole social media package will be put together for you and your business as well. Just thank you for tuning in. It means the world to me. Peace. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back to Why We Build. I am your host, Ron Sheth, and we took a little bit of a hiatus there just due to summertime family trips, but we are back. So I appreciate everybody's patience. Before we get started, I have some shout outs and to our sponsors. So first off, thank you to Sycamore Studios. It's a podcast photo videography studio that is based out of Plain City, Dublin. So if you're looking for any of those services, they will hook you up. Tell them Ron sent you. Our guy Ethan's filming today. He's great. So give a big shout out to Ethan. Secondly, the Slice Worthington is a new indoor golf simulator business that is opening up in the fall of this year. So they will have 5 golf simulator bays that will have multi-sport capability, pizza, the whole nine. So go follow them on their social pages as their journey is just beginning. Thirdly, we have Septech Services. So if you need your septic tank cleaned, replaced, please reach out to them. They are located in Dayton and Cincinnati. So a big shout out to Septech Services. How'd you like that, Paul? Was that pretty good? That was good?
Septech.
That was like my infomercial.
Is that a little play on words there? Septic?
Yeah, Septech.
Okay.
Yeah,
like it.
Maybe tech forward. I'm not really sure. But today's guest, I've been super excited to have. We go way back. We had a lot of time together in our corporate days. Someone I always looked up to during my corporate days and still do look up to. And so we're going to get into a plethora of different topics today, from how he made the plunge to start his businesses, and then his importance on mental health and how that's really helped him grow as a human being. And then lastly, we're gonna look at some watches, which I have no idea about. I'm not a watch guy. I'm wearing an Apple Watch currently. So this one's...
We're going to get that upgraded.
Yeah, man. Let's do that. But Paul Baumert, thank you for coming on Why We Build, man. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah. No, thank you, man.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in a little bit of reverse here. So you looked up to me in that corporate space, and now I'm looking at you for inspiration in this, going out on a limb and building my own business. And
we're all just winging it.
Yeah.
It's,
I'll tell you what, it's fun. It's a difference. People talk about stress and mental health and where they're at. And I think it's getting more prevalent in today's world, today's society, where things are just continuously speeding up.
Mm-hmm.
You and I talk a lot about technology, right?
Oh, yeah. We're getting hit with
down,
stuff nonstop, right? We were
Right.
talking about that before we started filming, where, our kids are getting hit with political ads during their YouTube, excursions.
Far different than how we grew up. So,
yeah.
It's good though. It's a fun type of stress.
Yeah.
I find myself waking up thinking differently, working on my mindset, trying to change. What am I focused on today? What are those important kind of hitters that you want to get through? What are some of those back burner things? And it's just a constant iteration process.
Yeah.
It's all right. Today, maybe we didn't get what we thought we were going to get done, but man, we learned some things.
Yeah.
We messed some things up, made some mistakes, learned from them, and then you just keep building those bricks. So
yeah. And so you obviously built those reps through being in multiple different types of roles during your corporate days. So run me through kind of like, you don't have to tell me the whole journey of your corporate days, but like where I guess run me through some of your pivotal points of like, okay, this might be time for me to jump now, to leave, right? Because I obviously had my moment when I was sitting in my cube, and I was like, okay, now the writing's on the wall. Like I've got to go do something on my own now. So when was that? Because you spent how much time in corporate? Like majority of your career, right?
I'll maybe do a quick rewind. So 2009 was when I started. January 2009 was when I took that kind of first full step into corporate world.
Mm-hmm.
Excited. I started on the phones. I think you and I talked about how critical that role is from
It is.
man, you learn how to talk to people, right?
Yeah,
Like
I
it
scared out
was
of my mind, dude.
same. Like
Yeah.
that first day we were
Oh,
put on
yeah.
the phones and like,
I
hey,
was
go
sweating all day. Yeah.
solve all these problems. And you're like, I don't know that I know how to solve the
Yeah.
problems in just a practice session. And now you got
Yeah.
me talking to live people. So,
Yeah.
that was critical, I think, cutting my teeth. My wife and I had kids probably at a little bit younger age. So you're in that mode of somewhat survival.
Survival,
And
100%.
how do I help support
You need those health
my
benefits,
family?
baby.
Yeah. Yeah. So you kind of put your head down and you just go. And then, you pause for a moment and kind of wake up and realize like, oh my gosh, my kids are growing up. Wife's transitioning into some of the things that she's doing. Things were going well in the corporate space. But I think the common answer for not just me, but for a lot of people, why some of these things changed or pivoted is, unfortunately, COVID. As crazy as COVID was and scary and people getting sick and families impacted. For us, I think that isolation allowed us to slow down and ask some different questions. And about that time, our kids, I think, were 12, 10, and 6, somewhere in that range. And we were starting to just go, okay, we've been focused on them. We've been focused on the careers.
Yep.
What do we want?
Yeah.
Right. Because I think that's the other thing is you look back and you go, I had a lot of advice from adults that I don't know that they had my best interest at hand. They did from a, hey, we care about you.
Yeah.
Go play it safe though.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship was not something my family
Like
talked
you grew
about.
up with. Yeah.
Wasn't around.
My case was a little bit different, because my dad was a small business owner. So we had that, that urgency almost like all the time, right? You're scared, you could lose it at any time, right? So I kind of grew up in that environment, but I get it because there's a lot of people that I talk to that are first time business owners that, it's a bigger leap. I feel like,
Yeah. So for us, it was, COVID really kickstarted kind of my wife's journey.
Yeah.
So that really happened first. I think I was starting to ask the questions, is this what I want to do long term? Was in a great role at that time just before COVID. I think the trajectory was making sense for longer term plans.
Yeah.
I think if you asked me at that point, it was, yep, I'm going to retire at this place, be a lifer, loyal, all those things. Well, then things change, right? So my wife is in the mental health industry. She's a mental health therapist.
Shout out Maria.
Yeah, right.
She was I'm going to
best.
sidebar real quick because my second role as a claims adjuster, I didn't know what I was doing. Total loss claims adjuster. I walk into day one, Maria's sitting behind me, and she could tell I'm like this freshman walking into a class for the first time, right? And she looks at me, we introduce ourselves, and then since that day, man, she was like my claims mom.
Yeah.
Like she had my back, like everything that you could ever ask for from a colleague. So she became like an older sister, a mom that just took care of me, made sure I didn't get bullied. But yeah, shout out Maria.
Yeah. And that's her profile, right? She's eldest granddaughter, oldest sister, oldest sibling.
Yeah.
She is that, like, it runs in her, like that caretaker.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think for her,
Yeah.
she's someone I respect from the standpoint of like, she knew what she wanted to do. Yeah. She had that short period in the corporate space, but she always knew that mental health was kind of her interest, her calling.
Mm-hmm.
And man, she keeps me, myself, my 3 boys, like she keeps us all in just good headspaces.
You need that.
So what really escalated or expedited her journey was COVID, right?
Yeah,
like telehealth became a realistic option versus, okay, to do a private practice, which was the ultimate goal for her.
Yeah.
You have to have a brick and mortar. Like people have to be able to come see you like that. I mean, that was, from what I understand, I think some of the legalities.
Yeah.
Telehealth expanded, and she took the leap, and we had conversations. I mean, there were, even before that, her going back to get her master's, leaving the corporate space, it was like, do we maybe have a 4th kid, or do you go back to school?
Yeah.
Like, what's the what are we gonna feel?
Those are big life decisions,
right?
Yeah.
So fast forward, we found, the older our youngest got, it was like, I think we're good with 3. Like, it feels, going back to diapers feels like a lot of work. She's starting to master's program is getting intense, and she gets through that. And man, that was amazing to watch her balance just all the things, right? I'm like, I mesmerized by how her brain can do papers, can do the mom stuff, can do the wife stuff. Like, it's just,
trust me, I was too.
impressive.
I was like, how'd you close that claim so quickly?
Yeah.
It was like,
she's a fast learner, a lot of retention. So she takes the leap to do her private practice.
Sure.
And I don't think I realized it when it was happening,
Mm-hmm.
but man, I got a front row seat at somebody building a business.
Like
And
from the
it
ground up.
was, yeah. And
Yeah.
it was fascinating, right? She did it differently. She wasn't taking insurance companies. That was something that she took a hard stand of, like, I don't want to deal with that bureaucracy.
Yep.
I want to have private paying clients.
Sure.
And, I want to own my schedule. And, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that was for family. For everything else, she didn't take clients on those days.
Yeah.
Now I think as she's gotten bigger, she's leaked into Friday a little bit, but
Yep.
not like a full day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I'm just Monday through Friday, like clockwork, and,
Yeah.
and no real flexibility.
In the Matrix.
You have time off, you have
Yeah.
holidays, all those things, but at the end of the day, this may sound a little grim. You report to that company, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot
Absolutely.
of there's not. I mean, yes, they provided a lot of flexibility of doctor's appointments here, that, but
Yeah.
it's kind of always this thing hanging over your head of like, oh, I'm not there, and should I be
Well,
there? And your peers are there, and it feels uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, because the big reason for me was the flexibility of, being able to jump and not be on someone else's time all the
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
right? Then again, I'm working way more now, but it's still, I can shift a meeting if I want to,
Yeah.
and not have to think twice about it, right? Or if I want to take the day off and go golf with my son, I can go do that. I'll just make it up later, right? So it's like, it's one of those things where I get it. I think that was one of the biggest things for me, was that freedom
Yeah.
of time.
Now, do you
Yeah.
feel when you say you're working more now? Does it feel like work though?
No,
it feels
see,
different, right?
It doesn't. Like, I woke up this morning and I was like, this is part of my work too, right?
Yeah.
Like, this podcast is a part of my work now, and I was like excited.
Yeah, there's a
Like,
different
I got
level.
up and I was like, dude, this is fun for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so yeah, no, and I think every venture kind of moving forward for me is going to lean into, obviously the work has to be put in, but there has to be a passion behind it now,
Yeah,
right? Just from the new ventures that I'm going to be starting now, is like, I want to make sure that I'm intentional about that passion side, and because the work's always going to be
Right,
there.
right.
But what's going to get me excited in the morning?
Well,
So-
now, and just to like plug your other business again, the Slice.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to build in golf training as part of your work.
Well, I need it.
right. You got to get better to be able to
Yeah.
be there and be
Yeah.
at that place. And
Absolutely, man.
so now golf is part of your work responsibilities.
It is, man. Yeah, I guess that's a good way of justifying it. Maybe we can expense some golf outings.
Yeah. A few
but
trips.
yeah. So yeah, exactly that, right? Like, when I was deciding to formulate this whole new business, I was like, well, I'm a newer golfer. I need. It would be fun to walk into an establishment where people are golfing,
Yeah.
and I got the itch, and I've had the itch for a couple of years now, and so. Just being able to have the freedom to formulate a business around that whole
Right,
concept is
right.
kind of mind blowing, and just got the right partners in
Yeah.
place, and so we're excited on that front.
I mean,
So,
to me, it's back to that mental health. Like, golf is just nice to get outside.
Yeah.
Right. I know
Yeah.
there's aspects about the golf courses, but man, getting outside with some friends, like
Yeah.
clearing your mind.
Yeah.
Hearing nature, hearing the birds.
Yeah.
Hearing the wind.
it's nothing like it.
It's a nice recharge. Like,
Yeah.
get away from some of the day-to-day grind. So
Yeah, absolutely, man.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So, okay. So we obviously, talked about your corporate side.
Mhm.
Tell me about the day that you decided you were like, okay, eh, I'm going to do this, because you watched Maria built her business from the
Yeah.
ground up, and then you're like, okay, now I think it might be my turn. And I
Yeah.
think you had like a little side project going on before you jumped all the way in. So run us through that.
Yeah, I'll talk about that. So for me, it was early, like January, February 2023 was a date that sticks out in my mind, because that's when I was following things. I was watching what Maria was doing. At times kind of helping, and I wouldn't say like heavily consulting, but there were moments where
Yep.
we'd have conversations, and I would kind of give my 2 cents, and see if I could help her make some decisions. But for me, it starts with Google, right? Like, you just start throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah, man.
And then just before that, 2023, I think mid 2022, I transitioned from a leadership role into an individual contributor role. So step back from a pay grade.
Yeah.
Bonus changed a little bit. Fortunate to keep similar salary, all those things, which was great.
Sure.
The way that the company treated that. But that transition there was my reasoning behind it was, man, I was starting to feel that corporate pain, I guess you could say a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, is it the leadership thing? So I wanted to test that first. So I went into an individual contributor role. Within a few months, I go, man, I think my mindset is starting to shift.
Yeah.
What that looks like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I'm feeling that little bit of itch or interest to go try something. Now, mind you, during that time frame, so 2022, I've got 3 boys. They're not big into sports. I'm a big sports guy,
Yeah.
specifically baseball.
Yeah.
So I coached a little bit in 2022, and that's a lot of effort.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then,
absolutely.
2023 had a pause. That team kind of transitioned into high school,
Yep.
and then got back into it in 2024 and 2025. So that to me, that's important because I'm still working the corporate stuff. I've got my dad hat, my husband hat on,
Yep.
friend hat, coaching here, 3 out of these 4 years in kind of this peak where I'm starting to explore stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
early 2023, I'm like, how do I just start, in my mind, a proof of concept for entrepreneurship? Because I understand business,
Yeah.
but I've never been on the running my own business
Yeah.
from ground up and wearing all the hats, right?
All the
Marketing,
hats.
CEO,
I
technology.
figured that out real
everybody,
quick.
right?
I didn't know what QuickBooks was.
Yeah.
I was like, man.
Some of the things you're like, well, I don't want to do that. We'll delegate that to somebody in the corporate space, right? There's
Yeah.
somebody that will want to do that because I don't want to do that part.
Yep.
There is no delegating in your, at least not early on.
No,
right?
man, you're doing it all, right? And
Yeah.
it's scary, but it's also like if you're like willing to put in the time to learn, and you're somewhat of a fast learner,
Yeah.
right? And now I think is the biggest opportunity for anybody trying to make the jump because of AI at your fingertips and being able to really leverage that to
Yeah.
help you,
Speed up
right?
things.
Speed
Yep.
up the process. So, um,
Yeah, so I found this logistics company where I could partner with them to pick up returns. So whether it was furniture, whether it was a mattress in a box,
Yeah.
all these very brand new products that for one reason or another wasn't the right fit for that particular customer. And what I learned was, okay, I have the opportunity to sell those on the secondary market.
Yeah.
At that time, I didn't have a Facebook, so I needed marketplace. So I signed up for Facebook. I start going with this, and I'm like, okay, this can be really cool, low overhead. I can start out of the garage, start with a couple items.
Yeah.
I don't owe any payments until I sell the item. So there was
Smart.
really no overhead to start other than just my time and energy, which was starting to get thin, right?
yeah,
And man, no sooner do I get a little bit of momentum there, March of 2023,
Yeah.
the effort of staying active, just playing a lot of basketball. Man, I tore my knee up, blew out the whole thing,
Oh,
ACL,
geez.
MCL, meniscus. And I think older me, or well, technically younger me, but
Yeah.
like older version of me,
yeah,
would have probably stopped. Like I would have thrown in the towel
Yeah.
and said, hey, maybe this isn't for me. Got to do all this recovery. Not going to be able to get a lot of momentum around this logistics thing.
yeah.
It's not going to work. Just fall back.
Because you've
into
got to
that
lift
corporate
and
space.
move things around. It's like heavy.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
physically demanding.
I
right?
needed my
Yeah.
leg, right? That was it.
Yeah.
I was on crutches for a while. Like I mean,
Man.
I did a number on this knee. So I'm like, no, like that, and again, with what my wife does, I have my own therapist.
Sure.
Big plug for taking care of yourself. To me, it is no different than being active or gym for your
Yeah.
physical body.
Yeah.
This is just for your brain, right? So like
Yeah.
I have a great opportunity. Found the right guy, and we talk frequently, and it just helps me work through things,
Yeah.
right? Whatever it could be.
Yeah.
So I start recovering from that. He and I talk a lot through that, and it's like, man, just keep going, one day at a time. There's no race, and I think that's sometimes we have these internal clocks.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, I needed to do this
Yeah, like,
yesterday. Or
yeah.
I needed to have this done.
Especially
It's
coming from our background.
Yeah.
We work in quarters.
KPIs,
right?
right?
Yeah.
And funding cycles and
Yeah.
all these things. You kind of get
It's crazy.
conditioned to be in this hyper speed.
Yeah.
So started recovering, eventually got to the point where, I was back moving, walking, and just started building it, and went from one garage
Yeah.
at home to 1, 2, and then a third storage unit,
units,
and was
yeah.
carrying about 75 pieces of inventory
It's crazy.
at any one time. And as soon as one went out, I was getting dispatched to pick up another one. So, that time,
Yeah.
it became almost like a second job.
Yeah,
And mind
yeah,
you,
yeah.
I'm balancing nationwide. We get through 2023, I'm recovered. I'm back to coaching in 2024, which really starts fall of 23.
Yeah.
And it's kind of almost a year round commitment with
Sure.
the way that these leagues are, and travel and these districts and these kids getting prepared. So about that same time, so April of 2023, I'm going through recovery,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm following different financial people. And I hear this guy talk about watches.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, I've always enjoyed watches.
Yeah.
I can remember being younger and having, a Fossil, a
Sure.
Kenneth Cole, the
Yeah,
stuff that
man.
you get at the mall.
You
That's
got
like
the
in
Fossil
those,
watch and
right.
the Aqua di Gio
Yeah.
like cologne. Remember that? Everyone had it in their
Yeah.
car.
And
Yeah.
you feel good because you're like, ooh, I spent like $100 on this watch.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
this is fancy, and it's shining in the sunlight
man.
and all those things. So I always just liked the way that a watch looked on the wrist.
Yeah.
Man, was I naive to the world that existed. So I'm doing the logistics thing. I'm continuing to recover my knee.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to do a little bit of Google searching on watches.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knows Rolex, right? Like you think you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that doesn't
Yeah,
know the Rolex brand at least.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing Omega and IWC and Bell and Ross and Tudor and JLC, and you just start seeing.
And now the
all these-
APs.
yeah, the APs, the Pateks, which write dream watches.
100%.
And the more I dug into that, the more I started to learn there's opportunity here, and they're assets. They're not just these luxury
Yep.
items that people go and spend a bunch of money on and are out, money, right? Like now, some of them, yes, they depreciate, but
Sure.
it's not like buying a vacation, right? Like you go out on a vacation, you spend all that money, you've got a memory, pictures,
That's it.
right? Like that's great.
Yeah.
Like stuff's priceless.
Yeah.
There's the APs, the Rolexes, the Patek, like
Yeah.
these can appreciate, and they can be assets to where you park money and can be investment opportunities. So like I'm
Yeah.
starting to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
with every, we know how technology works now. With every search, with every algorithm, it's like, let me just push more watch stuff to you. And it just kept coming and coming.
Well,
and
as I
coming.
was prepping for this interview, I think I was telling you my whole Instagram feed is now like unboxing like APs and like, you know, like the big luxury watch dealers right now are like giving away some of this stuff. Like they're leaving like watches outside their shop to see who takes it first and like, doing all these like, viral moments. And so, yeah, man, my feed is filled with all the goodness right now.
Yeah. So I'm balancing all these things. And I'm like, okay, like what, is there an opportunity here? And, I started to see more things. And what I found was something similar to like a trade school, right? Like, how can I go get educated? And, I was nervous, right? Like you're online, you're like, is this a scam? Is this, all these things. And, you try to do as much possible research, and you eventually get to a point where it's like, okay, let me spend a few dollars and see if this feels right.
Mm-hmm.
And it did. And,
did you have like somebody, because I mean, this is such a new space for you. Obviously you're interested, it's passionate. Was there someone out there that was like, hey, Paul, let me help you at least get started and learn this trade? Or was this all like self research?
It was all self.
Like,
and I, admittedly, I think my personality is as I'm finding myself, I was pretty quiet about it.
Sure.
Right. Like I wasn't going around sharing with a lot of people. I had great respect for my leaders at Nationwide. So we were having some conversations that my mind was starting to get into some different things. But really outside of that and my wife, maybe a few close family members, kind of kept it close to the vest, right? I don't know. I think you start to get expectation. I want to keep the noise quiet.
No, that's smart, man. I think everyone navigates a little bit different. I just didn't know if there was like a mentor or something that, you had right off the bat. Because, when I got into agency world, I had like a pretty large network that was like tapped into at least videography, photography, social media, right? And so I really leaned on them when I was kind of formulating Humanize. But so I was just curious.
So I know now I do, right?
Yeah,
tons of people to lean on, tons of connections, tons of relationship that where, some people we talk, I mean, sometimes every day, others a couple times a week, right? I mean, there's always, some interesting question of, hey.
And I think you have to at this point, right? Because if you're trying to, if you're sitting on something like, hey man, do you have a client that might be interested in this, right? And then maybe there's like some cross collaboration from a selling standpoint that you guys can do.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So,
And that, the higher you go, the more that happens, right? People are sharing their inventory, they're listing on their websites, their social media, all these things. And it's like, hey, if you own that watch, I own it too.
Yeah.
We'll, we can work out, margins, profit, all those things. But at the end of the day, we're getting somebody something that they're looking for.
Yeah.
and they're not stuck on an AD list waiting for 1, 2, 3, who knows how long,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Years where until they get that phone
Yeah.
call from the authorized dealer.
So when did you know, like, okay, now I'm going all into here? Because you obviously did your research on your own. You're starting to probably buy a little bit of small inventory.
Yeah.
You're making your first couple sales, and you're like, okay, this could actually be a trade that not only am I passionate about, but this could like be my livelihood too.
So this
You
is
know?
going to sound crazy. I think I knew before I had done enough transactions.
Okay.
And by enough, it's often like get through your first 10 deals
Yeah.
is oftentimes what you'll hear in the
Sure.
industry for people starting out, because you learn so much. You're going to make a bunch of mistakes. You're going to learn a
We all
lot.
do.
You're going to
Yeah.
you're going to understand how to list, how to at least get some photos done, some editing,
Yep. Yep.
how to ship out, how to package,
Yep.
how to present what the watch looks like when that that customer, that client gets it in the mail or at their FedEx location, wherever it might be.
Yeah.
So for me, I didn't dive right into transacting. I found this community and
Yeah.
I just was listening,
Yeah.
right? Like and by listening, I mean, I could be reading through, forums, posts,
Sure.
groups, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was just listening, watching people start just like I did, but had progressed. So I would say in that probably mid-year 2024, I was starting to wake up as to, man, this could work. Mind you, I found it April 23 and just kind of kept
Yeah. Kept pushing,
chipping away
did
in
a
23,
couple sales
kept
here and
recovering
there.
my knee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was really building the logistics thing. That was kind of main priority outside of corporate and family
Sure.
stuff.
Sure.
2024 was when, I was like, man, this can work.
Yeah.
But getting back into baseball, the
Yeah.
logistics thing now is blowing up. That's doing well, and it's proving to me that, oh man, I can.
You can run a business,
right? Like
yeah.
I'm learning things. I've
Yeah.
I've tweaked stuff. We've iterated.
Yeah.
It feels very reminiscent of what you're doing in day-to-day corporate.
Yep.
Just with a lot of the maybe politics.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of the the red tape to where you've got to wait for things to get approved.
Yeah.
If I didn't like doing something, it was an immediate change. It
Yeah.
was okay. We're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
We're going to tweak stuff. We found certain times that when we first started, we weren't offering returns. And then we started offering like, hey, a week-long trial, we'll give you a return period. And it calmed people's mind, right? Because when they're buying from somebody on Facebook Marketplace, I think there's a little bit of
There is. It's, I mean, it's credible, but it's not the most credible, right? Like
Right.
there's, yeah.
and I didn't have a lot of ratings yet.
Yeah.
So like I was still
Yeah.
building all of that. Fast forward now, I'm well over 100 ratings,
Mhm.
all 5-star. Like it makes it a lot easier to have that credibility. Like
Yep.
people trust you. They can read the reviews. They can see
Yep.
what real people are actually saying about you.
Yeah.
So 2024, I knew I was struggling to find the capacity to move it forward though.
Mm.
And that's where conversations changed at home.
Yeah.
And then we fast forward to March of 2025 was when I stepped away from the corporate world because I just couldn't balance everything. I couldn't balance this desire to move the watch business forward and really see where that could go.
It's a good problem, but it's very scary when you've got a mortgage and benefits and all of that stuff. And it's been a safety net for so
Yeah.
long, right? Because I went through that same exact thing when I made the plunge, hard conversations at home. And it was the scariest like year.
Yeah.
It took me a solid year to be like, okay, I think I'm okay now,
Right.
But here's the thing. It's like, when me and my wife talked, it was like, you can always go back.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, it's like, just take the chance, take the opportunity. What's the worst that can happen is
Yep.
like, you're just going back to the system,
Yeah.
which is okay.
I think it took a while for that to resonate and be comfortable in.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for, anybody that's listening or considering
Mhm.
entrepreneurship is there's absolutely a reverse button, right? I tell my kids this all the time now. I'm like, you guys can go down streets, and if you find that street doesn't have lights
Yeah.
or it's not looking good or it's a dead end, like just put your car in reverse.
Yeah.
And go down a different path and give it a try. And there's nothing wrong with trying and putting, your all out there. And I think that started to comfort me a little bit more. But that was all part of that growing and changing mindset. And, something I think is really important to share because I think people, it's hard for them to get out of those comfortable spaces, those security blankets, the 401ks, the pension, the
All of it.
consistent 2-week paycheck.
Yep.
It wasn't easy, 16 years at this corporate business. I ended up in the hospital because I thought I was having a heart attack.
I
Right?
remember
Like
when we had lunch, you were
yeah.
telling me that. I was like, man,
And
that's
and I think that's
yeah,
important to share to people because you are going to struggle.
yeah,
It's going to be a big change,
yeah,
and not everybody can just flip a switch and change like that.
yeah,
So for me, I think that's critical, and that for me was probably the best thing to hear that doctor go, "Hey, we run tests to see if anything is seriously concerning or wrong."
yeah,
And he goes, "I can assure you nothing's going on." And he
yeah.
goes, "What's going on in your life?" And I start to go down the list, and because yeah, you're having probably your first panic attack, and it feels very similar to what you might feel like a heart. Like I've never felt those heart
Heart's
racing.
racing,
You're
all hours.
you're
You're up at
feeling
night.
right.
Yeah.
And mind you, now Maria's. I could see her out of the corner of my eye, just like I told you this is what's going on, right? And it's like, I know, I hear you, but like I haven't gone through this level of change. Everything's
Yeah.
been, the irony of working for the company that I did, very risk adverse, and that was kind of my personality. And now I'm finding, in this stage of my life, in this chapter, I'm willing to take more risks.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate to have a partner and a family that supports that,
Yeah.
and it's fun. So yeah, 2024 felt like, man, this could be a thing. 2025 took that leap from corporate space,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rest of 2025 was a lot of like, okay, let's keep the logistics things going,
Yeah.
because that helped bridge some gaps financially.
Yeah.
Continue to allow me to progress and learn things.
Yeah.
But I found as that year went on, that was picking up more time, and I'm like, oh no, like this is starting to take more time.
Yeah.
Still doing the baseball thing.
Yeah.
And then the watch stuff is happening like late at night, but didn't feel fast enough.
Yeah.
Right. For
Yeah.
what my interest in it.
Yep.
And it felt like, so here we now in 2026, and, kind of decommissioning the other item. Watch stuff is going well. I would say really the last couple months have been probably the most consistent, progress oriented,
Yeah.
Starting to move more pieces, starting to have more interactions with clients.
Yeah.
But that's because that capacity is changing. So each thing that I take off my plate is now shifting into the watch space. And then
Yeah.
I haven't even shared this, but we're moving to Spain. Like my family's already out in Spain.
Yeah.
So that was another milestone that was like all in the midst of this is
yeah. I mean,
moving out
that's
of the
so much to
country.
juggle, man. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you always look at it from like a pie chart percentage standpoint. Like, you got your family time, you've got this, like,
Yeah.
this watch business, and then you've got all the other, like baseball, you've got all this stuff, right? And so you've got to like really figure out what's priority, and that's wild. So okay, so Spain is happening.
Yeah.
That just run me through that,
Right.
because I'm still trying to come to grips with it. Because going from Columbus, Ohio to another country, like what prompted that?
Yes, a lot of things. I think one is, realizing that we can, right? Like again, that mindset starting to shift.
Yeah.
You starting to ask those hard questions during COVID. My wife's starting a business.
Mm-hmm.
I leave corporate. I've started now 2 businesses.
Yep.
And it was like, why not? Right? Like there
Yeah.
were a lot of things of, hey, we want to go experience the world.
Sure.
We want to see what's outside of Ohio. We're not the most well-traveled family, right? Like this actual trip to Spain was our boy's first trip on an airplane, right? Like,
Yeah, there we go.
There was
dude.
lots of excitement, lots of nerves, all those things. But it started to become more of a, hey, there's an opportunity to go experience the world, and not just in a classroom, not just on a paper.
Yeah.
I joke with people, I'm like, when we got over there, we started in Madrid for a couple of days, and then kind of went south to where we were staying. And where we were staying, you could see the Mediterranean Sea right from the terrace that we were outside on. And I go, man, I can remember being in a classroom with the lights off and those overhead projectors with the clear sheets that's on there.
I remember those.
And you're labeling countries and you're learning about different places in the world. And I'm like, man, I've only ever seen that on a globe, on a map.
Yeah.
Maybe a random
on an overhead
show,
projector.
right?
That's throwback.
So it was so surreal to see it in person.
Yeah.
And you have some of those moments that you've got to work through, which is like, oh, we could have did this sooner, maybe.
Yeah,
right?
but the timing's everything, right?
Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would it have been
Yeah.
harder, and would we have actually executed? I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
But I do know, leaving corporate, starting these businesses, getting over to Spain, the different level of confidence and excitement you get to go, oh,
Mhm.
we can do this.
Mhm.
Because man, everything is worse in your head. You'll come up with a million reasons why you can't do
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
so easily,
Yep.
but you won't actually make that other list of like, but yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Like, what's that list of why we can do it? And that was probably the biggest work that I personally needed to do.
Yeah.
Was to get to that point and get to that other side. And this,
Well, there's a lot of people and families that talk about leaving the U.S. just due to, let's just say, the current climate.
sure,
I'll leave it
sure,
at that.
yeah,
But it takes a ton of balls to actually just go and do it, right? And I think that's the differentiator. And I think you nailed it because you do have like the 100 no's in your head. Just push through and see what happens with it,
yeah.
right? What's the worst? Like we
Well,
talked
you can
about
change
earlier,
it, right? We can come
we
back.
come right back.
Yep.
It's
I mean, it
it's
may
the
not
same
feel
thing.
good,
Yeah.
but you can come back. You can reverse it. We can go somewhere different,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
I mean, we've decided we're not, nothing permanent living style right now
Sure.
because we just want to go see stuff. And if we find out after 6 months, a year, while we're all there finally, because they're already out there. If it's not for like, we can go somewhere else.
Yeah.
We can get on a train. We can get on a plane.
Absolutely.
We can go explore.
Yeah. I think that's going to be so beneficial for your kids.
Yeah,
Like
the
because
worldview.
because now they're going to experience a whole new world perspective. It's just going to ground them more as human beings. I'm sure they're already really grounded human beings just knowing you and Maria, but man, just
Yeah.
imagine that, right? Being how old are they?
Yeah. So now they're 18, 16, and 12.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
imagine that. Like if we, as 16-year-olds, we're out there,
Right.
right? That's kudos to you guys, man. I think that's a big leap. I think that sky's the limit,
Yeah.
for you guys now. And so before we get into showcasing,
Showing some watches.
showing the good stuff, how do you because you're gonna, you're US based right now
Yep.
with the watch business. What's kind of your plan when you get over to Europe? How are you going to navigate those waters?
Yeah, no, that's a good question.
yeah.
So, have some contacts here that are going to help keep some of that U.S. Business going, right?
Okay.
So, obviously, tariffs, import costs,
Yep.
those things all impact the the watch industry, the watch space on moving watches in and
Yeah,
out
yeah,
of
yeah.
countries.
Yeah.
So for me right now, the short term plan is having an infrastructure in place to where whether it's photography, whether it's buying, selling, getting it in, having some partners that really are just going to hold the inventory.
Yep.
I'm doing all the listing, everything from Spain.
Sure.
Maybe have a photographer on hand in the U.S. that can go take the pictures, do
Yep.
all that.
Yep.
And then kind of introduce it to these contacts that I have that are
Got it.
interested in watches.
Yeah.
He's someone that's already bought for me. We've kind of met through my brother
Yeah.
and become good friends. And he's as interested in watches as I am.
Mhm.
So it feels like a natural fit.
Yeah.
And someone that's
Yeah.
also in that corporate space that sees an opportunity of like, could I transition away, right,
Yeah.
and do my own thing? So he and I think are going to start to build this.
I love that.
Have some other people that if things don't work out, got some backup plans
Yep.
in place, and we'll kind of go from there. So my goal, longer term vision is to have a footprint in both,
Yeah.
the U.S. and in Europe.
Yeah.
Now, what does the Europe footprint look like? I'm just scratching the surface right now.
Yeah, I
right?
mean,
So
it's a relationship building game, right?
It is.
So it's
I
like
just
you
got to
get
talk to people.
exactly.
Yep.
Well, you get one of those two, high net worth individuals that are, continuously going to, and they don't have to be high net worth, but just someone that's really well connected in that area. Just get
Right.
your foot in the door and like that, then it's game over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So,
So-
the credibility is
Yep.
important, right? So I've built a good foundation there.
Yep.
Obviously, plug in your Humanize,
Yeah.
company. You're helping me now with branding,
Yep.
with logoing. We'll eventually get into website, and that will continue to just add to my credibility,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
access, people being able to see me
Yeah.
amongst all the other platforms that I'm already starting to use. So
Yeah.
it's, I'm in that like, let's build a brick a day. Let's move,
Yep.
do 2 or 3 things that are important that keeps the business moving forward.
Yeah.
And then,
No,
after
we're
a
excited,
month-
man. We're excited after we had our like discovery session on it, like, just getting the branding and,
Yeah.
and your ethos right is exciting for us, right? We work with a handful of different clients, and some are less interesting than others, but
Yeah, yeah.
this one's gonna be fun, man. So no, I'm proud of you in all regards, man. I think,
Appreciate
just
it.
the leap, then another leap out of the country,
Yeah.
and then, starting a couple businesses and you're on your way, man. So before we get to the fun stuff, just another shout out to our sponsors for today. We've got Sycamore Studios. Thank you guys for hosting and powering this podcast. Please go follow them on all social channels. The Slice Worthington indoor golf spot. I may or may not be involved in that business. And then lastly, Septech Services from Dayton and Cincinnati, Ohio. So please reach out to them for any of your septic needs. All right, so Paul brought some pieces. I think this is where the watch audience is going to get super excited.
Right, they don't care about the other stuff that was
happening. They're like, oh, cool, you guys jump from corporate, awesome. But yeah, no, this is the fun stuff here. So Paul's going to walk us through some of the pieces he brought here today. I obviously am a novice, a rookie. I have no idea what we're looking at. So Paul's going to, show us some really cool stuff here. So just let's jump into it.
Yeah, so you guys should be able to see, overhead, and what we're looking at today is I'm actually going to go in order of millimeter size. So like the casing, the dial,
Okay.
That's a popular feature or characteristic that people look for, right? Because not everybody has the same size wrist.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you think, big NFL lineman, he's probably going to need a little bit bigger millimeters on that wrist. Whereas, a different athlete, maybe, smaller basketball player might need something a little bit smaller. So today we'll go with a couple classics to start. The first that you're going to see here, this is a Rolex Submariner. No date. So this one specifically is a 2016. I think release date was about 2012.
Yeah.
On these. But
so what I've read about those is those are like your classic everyday type of like, it maybe someone's first or second Rolex.
Could be.
Right.
Yeah. Very much
okay. See, I did my shit before I did my research, man, before I got here.
This is a very good kind of first choice Rolex. Now what you'll notice different about this one, on this dial specifically, there's no Cyclops eye, right? So that's your dates, right? Your date just, right? Those types of things where you'll see that.
Yep.
Then there's like a day date, which has like the day
I've
and
seen
the date.
those.
You guys will see that with the IWC here. But this one is just a very clean dial, no added aspects on the dial, just very plain, classic look. And this is a 40 millimeter watch. So it's got good size. You'll notice it's not super thick, so it's going to fit. You can wear it every day. You can wear it under a suit, collar, cuffs. Like it's going to fit
with the t-shirt.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's,
that's sleek,
it's
man.
going to be fine, right? And it's got the Oyster bracelet, obviously the Rolex logo on the back of the clasp, but your bezel, everything, and it's just a great look. It's just a simple black on black
classic.
Look, goes with everything.
Yeah.
You're not going to have any problems matching this watch with anything that you want to wear, how you want to wear, whatever your style is, and it's. People are going to see it, right? Like it glistens in the light.
I mean, it's a Rolex, so it's already like a statement piece and history more so than anything else, right? I think I feel like when I was doing a little bit of digging on the company itself, like they have facilities that no one can really even get into.
Yeah, they're very protective of all
are they
stuff.
like a nonprofit too, or something like that?
They set it
right?
up so nonprofit, no stakeholders. They don't answer to shareholders.
Yeah, it was fascinating. I went into a rabbit hole. I was telling you, I was like. Just to prepare for this, and very cool company, obviously, the front runners in the world.
It's fun to see stuff like that where companies go, hey, we're not going to answer to anybody but our own vision and our own dreams. And it's I think that's why you have it has that brand recognition, and you see it everywhere.
Yeah.
And you see it. I mean, obviously we're in the Columbus area, so the Memorial, you see Rolex
everywhere
sponsoring a lot of the Memorial Golf Tournament.
Yep.
But yeah, so iconic piece. So what we'll look at, really the exact same watch, same model.
Yeah.
This one's a 2024, I think released in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Same watch. You'll see same look, everything here. Only difference really is it's 41 millimeters. So it's just a hair bigger. You'll notice a slight difference. I don't know if we can zoom in far enough, but down here at the bottom where it says Swiss made, you're going to see a little Rolex icon, which is not the case on the previous one that we looked at, the 2016. So very subtle differences around the lugs, a little bit different. They call it a super case, so those are a little bit different with this newer one. But really that same classic Submariner look, black on black, sleek, same thing, same profile. You can wear with just about anything, and same Oyster bracelet. So another one just. They kind of upgraded, went a little bit bigger, a little different style. Now, could you argue they're just trying to keep people interested and they tweak a couple things, and then
Sure.
you get these collectors who are like, oh no, there's a Submariner out there I don't
Yeah.
have. Let me make sure I go get that.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Well, the
right?
ones that pop up for me are like the like I think there was one called the Pepsi or something
Yeah.
like that, right? Like it would look super hard to find
Just got
right now.
discontinued, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, and that's, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's the other thing with these pieces, especially the the Rolex, the APs. I'm gonna show you guys a couple other that maybe don't follow this trend line, but that becomes an investment piece.
Yeah.
It's not just a.
I wanted to ask you about that. Of how do these appreciate?
Right.
You know?
It's not just a luxury item that you are, spending this money on, and then you're out that money. Like, these keep their value incredibly well.
Yeah.
Pepsi right now, being especially items that get discontinued, start to appreciate.
Yeah.
So you might buy it at X number, and then in a year, 2 years, 3 years, like that number starts to go up. So it's a great way to, to park money.
Yeah.
And then when you look at, the ROI and some of those things,
Yeah.
it matches other popular and common, if not exceeds, other avenues that people are doing with their 401ks, their stocks, their IRAs, whatever it may be that they're into. And that, that was one of those eye-opening components when I got into this watch space, is like, this isn't just some, let me show off what I have on my wrist. Sure, it starts conversations, opens doors, opens networking opportunities. But man, there's an investment play if done
It's an
at
asset.
the right level.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right?
I hope my wife's listening to this podcast. I've got to
justify
park some money
purchases,
somewhere.
right?
Yeah, man.
All right, so a couple cool classic Rolexes. So that's your 40 millimeter, your 41 millimeter, and then on my wrist today,
Let's go.
I've got a 42 millimeter. This is the Omega Seamaster 300. This one is a titanium bronze gold. So Ro,
I like that, man.
I'll actually throw it over to you for a second. Feel how light that is.
Yeah, this is
like
insane.
just super, that titanium casing, incredibly light. And then Omega has kind of their patented bronze gold. So it actually has a percentage of gold in that watch, that in theory, if somebody wanted to melt it down, they could.
Sure.
Dude,
Dude,
hopefully
this
they
is
wouldn't,
so
right?
nice, man. And this seems like I mean, it's like a dark green, so you
Yep,
could wear it
dark green.
with a lot of different outfits. You
Yeah,
know?
and it's got that, like, that bronze gold looks a little bit rose gold colored.
Yeah.
So same thing kind of goes with a lot of different outfits, however you want to pair it up. And then it's on the rubber strap, so a little bit more sportier.
Yeah.
Than you're going to see like with the Rolexes, right? This is your traditional dive watch to where you want to get in the water. It's got the valve release there on the side.
Yeah, I see the diver 300M on the back.
bezel,
Yeah.
all those.
Yeah, this is
But
incredible.
man, just a cool feel from a lightweight watch. But just a classic look. Again, kind of that green jumps out, especially when you're outside in sunlight. And that's been one of my favorite parts about getting into this space is, man, I think about before I started my corporate career, it wasn't the easiest thing for me to go talk to people.
Yeah.
Like just randomly going up to strangers. I'm so much better at it now. And you know, that was serving well in Spain, just going up and fumbling through conversations in Spanish. And, my kid's like feeling embarrassed. And I'm like, hey, you got to put yourself out there, right?
We're here now.
But man, now with watches and recognizing
it's
so easy to just comment. Like I mean, people love when you go, hey, nice watch.
I've noticed that. So I own one watch that was gifted to me from my buddy for his 40th, right? And I think I showed it to you. And it's not anything. It's just like a random, like just a gift watch, right? And I wear it all the time, and people are like, "Oh man, that's sweet!" And like it just opens up. I'm like, I don't even know what this is, but thank you. And so you're absolutely right, man. It's a great conversation starter. I think you can build a ton of relationships from the culture itself.
And at any point, have you been upset that somebody commented something nice about your
Absolutely
watch,
not.
right?
Now I was like, man, and that's what I was telling you. I was like, man, I might turn into a watch guy soon. It's just it feels good, right?
Yeah.
It feels good.
I think it takes people's guard down when you're immediately like, oh man, that's a nice watch. I can recall my wife and I going out to dinner, and early on I had just had a Breitling Navitimer. So it kind of went down, like as you're learning, you kind of, go look at some of the other Navitimer models, and you get a good feel for what that model looks like. And we got on an elevator, and a guy had one on, and I only saw half the watch, like his shirt was covering.
Yeah.
I was like, "Ooh, you got a nice Navitimer on there." Like it was that simple. And he goes, "Oh yeah." He's like, and he's showing me, and like it just instantly starts the
It's
conversation.
like the watch nerds start talking to each other.
Yeah, and then often the wives are like, "Oh my god, can we just get off this elevator?" Right? This guy's gonna be stuck here forever. He's just gonna be going up and down.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, people appreciate it. And then it's as simple as like, what else is in your collection? And then they start talking about like, oh, I've got this, or or this is my first one, but I'm looking to get, X, Y, and Z. And then it's such
Yeah.
a quick plug of,
Oh, I mean,
you
for
get
you,
them talking.
I
You're like,
actually
hey,
happen to
yeah,
have this.
right. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you either
Yeah.
have it or you're like, hey, I can get that, or
Yeah.
like, let's exchange information. And,
Yeah.
I picked up a few people like that and a few clients. And then you provide great hands-on service. I was always confident I could do that part.
Yeah.
When I think about the space that we were in corporate, it was like, I think I was always directly scared of sales. And now here I am only doing sales.
Yeah.
But sales it's just relationships.
It is.
Right.
It's
just making people feel comfortable,
That's right.
Happy.
Yep.
I delivered one down to Louisville, Kentucky last week.
Mm-hmm.
And he had me come straight to his house. Like, people don't do that unless you're having good conversations. We got on FaceTime, right? Like, we talked about the watch. We talked about, what it looked like. We ordered straps together. Like, we kind of dressed it up differently. And he's like, hey, he's like, I can't make it up there. I was like, no problem. I'll come down to you and take a quick day drive.
Yeah.
And he's like, are you serious? Like, that little bit that wows them. They
man.
get excited. And then, I leave his house and he goes, I'll never buy a watch from anybody else.
Yeah.
And
See,
it's
I mean,
not
that's
hard. Just be nice.
No, that's it, man. And I think we were talking about from like a digital perspective, really showcasing Paul on social. It might take some reps, right? But just starting to put yourself out there, and because like that, like I said yesterday, like humanizes who you are,
right?
And people are going to buy from people who they see and have trust and credibility, and that also is not only in real life but on the digital landscape as well.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, so true. So the next one we've got a pretty unique niche brand. So IWC Schaffhausen, awesome pilot style brand, which I like because my youngest son is into planes. So IWC, Bell and Ross have been some that I've gotten into just because of his interest in World Wars and all those old school planes. And you think about some of the history of these watches used for those pilots. Back in the day, it's cool to read about. So this IWC, I mentioned a little bit earlier the Rolex is being very basic, very simple. You're gonna see a little bit more noise on this watch. So you can see the main dial that we've got here, and you've got 3 different subdials. So this is a chronograph, and a chronograph, really, in its shortest explanation, is a watch that has stopwatch features, right? So whether it's pilots, whether it's racing, whatever you may be doing, people need to take intervals of time, and you have that feature here with the chronographs at the 2 and the 4 positioning. And then you'll notice right here on the right at the 3 o'clock number, you've got your day and your date. So we can set it to where we're seeing Tuesday, August 4th. Obviously, you got to know what month it is, but you can see the number there. Set it. So a lot more features, a little bit more applicable.
So this is a brand that too many people are not that familiar with, right? I mean, maybe watch.
This is your watch nerds.
Well.
Your watch nerds, your watch enthusiasts, but your average watch person is going to be like, oh yeah, Rolex, Omega, probably Omega, big footprint with the Olympics and with going to space, right? Like, so people are familiar from that standpoint.
Yep.
IWC is going to fly a little bit under the radar, and the people that are going to know that are your people that have probably a collection.
The guys in the elevator.
So so if you're selling or moving an IWC, that conversation definitely gets into like, all right, I know you have a collection. Like you didn't just start out buying IWC, right? Like you probably started cut your teeth somewhere else. And then got into, for whatever reason, IWC attracted you, and you started getting into that one. So some really cool models with the IWC, cool looks, but definitely a lot of the chronograph look, that kind of pilot feel, a little bit more, I guess, work oriented. And then you'll notice on this one, I've got a green, a little bit more rugged strap, kind of canvas. This actually comes on a more nicer, sleek leather strap that's a little bit dressier.
Okay.
But I was like, man, this is such a good watch to like show it out in the field. And I felt like this green,
I love that,
might reposition this a little bit different way. So that's something that, as you learn and you build these bricks, I'm finding I'm messing around with straps more to reposition a watch, and maybe show it a little bit differently than what it comes. And, gives people options.
Again, that feels like an everyday watch again, right?
Yeah.
Like you can literally wear it with any color, right?
You could wear this. Just about anything. Obviously the green adds a little bit of like nuance with what you can add, but you definitely got a little bit of that like pilot military kind of feel now.
Some history to it, right? I think that's the big thing, is like a lot of these watches have that deep history on like why they were made.
Right.
And that's cool. It's a story in itself.
Yep. And I love the stitching that helps kind of contrast the strap and the
Mhm.
watch. It's there's so many options out there. It's really a fascinating world. All right, so the last one we'll show is the biggest. So this one's going to be 44 millimeters.
It's for the linebackers out there.
Yep. So this is definitely one that's going to stick out a little bit more, right, on that wrist. It's going to be a little bit more vibrant, a little bigger feel. But this is the Panerai brand, so Italian brand, used back in the day for Italian Navy. Still, like that's where a lot of
Wow.
origination came for the Panerai. So again, very day-to-day use. I think that was probably the one thing that surprised me the most is a lot of the origin and history of these watches. Because you think about how nice they are, and you're like, man, I'll never wear that doing anything active.
Yeah.
But that's what they were intended for
Yeah.
originally, and why they were built. And you had people.
I know some people that are rocking the Rolexes in pools and stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, dude.
It's
Like if I owned one, like, you see the celebrities out there in
Right,
the pool,
right.
and they're just But
so that I think I'm not quite to that stage where I'm going and working out with any or doing anything active. I tend to take mine off and try to protect it. But yeah, you hear a lot of people in this space and industry, and especially other prominent dealers. They're like, yeah, I go to high end gyms all the time, and I keep it on because I'll sell a watch or two while I'm just getting my exercises in, right? And it's like, no way.
I mean, again, it is a conversation piece, so like you're honestly your own billboard at that point, right?
So, and it does, it creates that, makes you feel real, right?
Mhm.
Like people can come up to you and like, oh man, this dude's in the gym, grinding it out, and he's got a watch on, and so it's good. So a little bit different makeup here. You've got, this is what we call a sandwich dial. It might be hard to see just with the looks here, but you'll see the black dial is actually above the numbers and the numerals here and some of the writing. And then that's where the lume shows through. So you'll see that kind of pop through if it was dark in here. But a little bit almost like 3D type texture. Same kind of domed glass, dome casing, very polished bezel, smooth. Where some of the Rolexes you'll see like the fluted bezel, a little bit more texture. Got this release on the side that allows you to change, start to change all the
That's incredible.
minutes hands. And then if we get into this other position, let me move that. Sometimes it's hard to find that first position, but you'll see the hour marker move, and then which allows us to change, the date here on the right. And then we've got that little blue seconds hand, which I love just the little blue color of this one.
Yeah.
So this
yeah,
is a
that's really nice.
01359. And man, it's just got a cool look with that blue. And then this one right now, not the original strap, but paired with an ostrich, gray strap with blue stitching. So again, kind of stands out, jumps off the wrist. Great conversation starter.
Yeah.
Someone's going to see that from a distance, which traditionally it comes with often like black rubber, black leather straps, which look great.
Mm-hmm.
Very casual, but man, there's a lot.
You
of
decided
options
to change it up
Panerai.
on that one.
Yeah. So, this one actually came when I got this one.
Yeah.
It actually somebody had already added this strap, so I was just fortunate as it came to me, it already had it.
Yeah.
But I actually have a cashmere one that I found that's on order that I'm waiting for to come in, and it's like, man, some of these just different looks, unique looks, and especially when you're trying to list and stand out, on different platforms, and you see kind of a sea of basic pictures, white backgrounds, typical straps. It's like, man, how do I jump off that page to somebody that's just scrolling?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
so are you still figuring that out as far as like your niche customer? Like, because you obviously have a variety that you brought here today, and I'm sure you've sold a variety, but you're not like the Omega guy or the Rolex guy. Like, like run me through that process.
Yeah. So not yet now. And I don't know that it's hard to say definitively if I'll get into that, one particular niche.
Sure.
There are a lot of people in the watch space that do, right? Like they find their niche in whatever they're moving, whatever they're comfortable.
Yeah. I
think it's often recommended to, potentially get down a brand that you like and get to learn pretty well and become that person.
Yeah.
I feel it's still so early in my journey. I'm just trying to learn about everything.
Yeah.
So I'm trying all sorts of different
throwing darts right now, man.
Yeah.
Right?
So I'm like, hey, I haven't had that brand. Let me try and see, how does that move? What kind of client does it attract? What kind of conversations am I having with people?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm still a little bit in that, like, yes, I'm selling, looking to make a profit, right? All those, business things that you want to do.
Yeah.
But right now I'm not trying to narrow any niches down. I think longer term, it's kind of like a pyramid, right? Like you get to the brands that kind of stick out and
Are going to
become
keep selling and kind of
well,
consistent,
and they're
right?
high end, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the Pateks,
sure.
the
Yeah,
APs, Richard Mill,
yeah,
right? Like that.
yeah,
I mean, these are
yeah,
some seriously
yeah.
expensive
You're not going
high
to get
end
the
watches.
hair, the Jacob the jeweler hair, and
Right.
slick that back. You know,
Yeah, so it I think eventually we'll start to get into those pieces, but I'm still kind of building my base
hmm
knowledge, right?
sure.
And I don't want to go too far too fast to where I'm overwhelmed when
I
I'm
like
dealing
that.
with a client that
Yeah,
goes, "Hey, you don't know what you're talking about." Like I don't ever want to be the person in the room that I mean, don't get me wrong, there are definitely some watch enthusiasts out that no matter how much time I spend, they're just going to have more knowledge.
yeah,
But you don't want to come to a conversation where you're like, I can't even like hold my own weight in the
yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
So
Because there's a lot to
very
learn.
progressive.
I mean,
Yeah. Oh
there's,
my
I mean,
gosh. There's so many models.
it's
There's
just
so much.
history,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, there's endless YouTube videos. There's great,
Yep.
I'll shout out 1916 Company as a great one on YouTube that
hmm
oftentimes when I get a watch in, I just like the way that they go through some of the technical stuff.
Okay.
And I'll start with them. Like it's a
Yeah.
simple YouTube video or
Yeah.
search of whatever brand and model I have. And I watch a couple videos just so I can get familiar with that watch. And then it's like, you just keep layering that, right?
Yeah.
Like you get more comfortable. And then, the more stuff you expose you to, you catch a little nugget of like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Little, small things, right? Like, and it's silly things, just last few months, like you realize an Omega reference number is like 6 full digit numbers, like either 2 or 3 digits, separated by periods. And it's like that third digit is the size of the casing. And it's like, you don't always pick, like you're learning stuff
Like
so
deciphering
fast.
in real time. Yeah.
Yeah. That, you're not always breaking down some of those similar things. And now it's like, oh, now I can look at that
Yeah.
reference number and know right away, like without even seeing the watch go,
Yeah.
okay, that's a 40 millimeter or 42 or 36 or whatever it might be. And it's, those little nuances are different with
It's probably
every
so much
brand.
fun for you because you're obviously passionate and been in the space for some time now. You're just like, and I think that's the thing in almost, I mean, any industry is like the continuous learning, right? I think that's cool, man.
That's where it's fun to stack bricks, right? Like I tell my kids, like you
Yeah.
stack enough bricks, you'll have a wall, and then before you know it, you have 4 walls. But that consistency is where I think people struggle, right?
Yeah.
Like that's where that mindset. It's like because you keep looking every day, and it feels like you haven't gone anywhere. But if you could
That's
just turn around for a second and go, man, where did I start?
Yeah.
You actually realize like I started with 1 brick, and now I've got like 400
Yeah.
in a whole wall.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to have that perspective, and that's
It really is. I think because it is. I mean, it's lonely being an entrepreneur. You're you're on an island,
Yeah.
and I think that some days you're going to feel like you're on top of the world, and then other days you're like, shit, like,
Did I do the
am I
right
going to
thing?
survive?
right.
And then there's other days that are just like kind of quiet, and you're
Yeah.
like, am I making any progress today or
Yeah.
not? So you go through all those like kind of mental exercises on like a daily basis,
Yeah.
and I think over time you'll get better at it. I've gotten better at it. At first, it was really bad. I was like erratic throughout my day.
Yeah, for sure.
you
I mean,
know,
I still have moments like that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, I didn't get this done, or
Yeah.
I did get all this done, but it didn't feel like it resulted in a whole lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then you have those questions, and you got to find those really good grounding statement. That's where
Yeah.
I think it's important to like, wait a minute, let me look back a month, 2 months.
Yeah.
Let me have a longer vision of what I look back to and go, no, man, we've gone a long way.
Yeah, you have,
Just-
man.
just
You have.
keep-
And
just
you got
keep
to have
staying
that
consistent.
perspective,
Yeah.
All right, here's the golden question here.
Mhm.
If Paul had a dream watch,
Yeah.
what would it be, man? It's probably hard to nail it down to one.
I don't know that I can nail it specifically to an exact model. But so far, like I've not owned an AP yet. And I met with, a group of guys that are doing this in the Columbus area. And one of them came with an AP on.
Mhm.
It felt
like you own
different.
the room.
I mean, you definitely get a little bit of that vibe of like
Oh,
the
yeah.
person walking in and seeing it on their wrist. But obviously, we can see that as watch people.
Sure.
Where I think we met at Roosters, so very unlikely that people at Roosters are like, oh my god, did you like? Nobody's stopping eating
Yeah.
their chicken and going like,
Yeah.
this dude just walked in with
Let me
an
get the
AP.
tender and fries,
Right,
and I got an AP on my wrist.
But he took it off and kind of allowed me to feel it and put
Yeah.
it on.
Yeah.
and this is going to sound crazy. It's weird that you put it on and you feel a little bit different. And
Mhm.
I don't know how to describe that. I don't know what that means. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's good or bad.
I think
But
it's like a car in a
probably,
certain
yeah,
way, right? Like, as men, you get into like and women, you get into a specific car. It's like, man, like I feel good in here,
yeah.
and
I mean,
it
because just the complexity of the engineering around these
yeah,
pieces
yeah,
is, it's hard to not appreciate that
yeah,
part. Yes, there is, there's money, there's status, all
sure,
that, but like when you block all that out, these are not created overnight. Like they take a lot of time to
years,
get built.
yeah,
I mean, it's why they're, there's not millions upon millions of the exact same Rolex. Like they're limited, they get
yeah.
discontinued, right? Like these people go through all this training to build these. But yeah, I think when I get my first AP, yeah,
I hope I get a FaceTime.
I think
Yo,
that's gonna be
bro,
one where I'm gonna be
check
super
this out. You're
excited.
gonna be on the beach in Spain.
Right, it's gonna
Yeah,
feel great.
yeah,
And then it's probably just gonna snowball, right? It'll be that
yeah,
first one,
yeah.
and then I may or may not keep that. It might just get sold, and then you'll be
Sure.
like, oh, now it's gone. Like I
Yeah,
need, I need another one.
yeah,
Like I want that back in my life. But yeah, as you continue to elevate and scale, the hope is that we can get into the APs, the Pateks,
yeah,
more Rolexes, eventually a Richard Mille, and you see that with other great people that I follow or
yeah,
people that I communicate with, and you see their
sure.
progression. It's like, oh yeah, they were doing, I'm not criticizing Tudor or Bell and Ross, right? But
Yeah,
they're kind of your lower entry
hmm,
luxury watches.
sure.
um, you don't stay there as a dealer, right? Like, because otherwise, then you've got to move a ton of volume,
Yep. Yeah.
to earn a living and do those things. So obviously, you want to get into those higher ends
Higher
and
end ones. Yeah.
different clientele, different and that clientele doesn't just buy watches from you, right? It opens up new relationships
Yeah.
of what are they doing? What can I learn from them about business and how
Yeah.
they've
Yeah.
found a way to
It's a networking piece,
right.
man. Yeah.
Our society is it's really just a system and a game of
Yeah.
what rules do you have? What set of rules were you given? Can you get some cheat codes? Can you get
Yeah.
some, different aspects to help you, kind of figure out how to be comfortable? And for us and my wife and the boys right now, we're in exploration mode,
Yeah.
and you need a means to do that, right?
You guys
So
have definitely broken out of the matrix, man, and I'm proud of you guys.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that
it
again, it
feels
takes
good.
courage. I
It
think that's
does.
the best word for it. It takes a ton of courage and communication and the whole nine. And so,
Yeah.
um, where can they find Paul?
Yeah, yeah, good
Timeless Flux
question.
Co.
Yeah, so the
J-
company is Timeless, Timeless, and then Flux Co. So you can find me on Instagram. It's probably the best place right now. Ro and I are working on
Logo and branding is coming.
Uh,
Website's
working
coming.
on website, so
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
get into that.
Yep.
But that name you can also plug into eBay. I've got an eBay store you can find. You can find Reddit. Another underrated platform.
I agree.
That has that watch exchange subreddit
Yeah.
is littered with
Oh, yeah.
watch enthusiasts, and there's a lot of guys that do a lot of great business.
Find your community there.
Yeah, on
you know?
Reddit.
Yeah.
So and then eventually get Chrono 24 is another popular platform that people use. Start getting a dealer account on there versus what I have currently as a private seller. So I think
Yeah.
as branding, website, like things will start falling into place.
Yeah.
But what, like I mentioned earlier, I'm really getting, like, just the last couple months, I'm really getting into more consistent day-to-day operations, moving things forward, and
Yeah.
I think that's only going to increase once I'm physically out in Spain with my family, because our house took a lot to get sold and prepped and listed.
Yeah. It's
So
a,
there's
it's
a lot
a
of
ton,
things
man.
that you're balancing your time with.
Yeah.
That it's like, man, here I am painting this wall, and I'm not even going to live here next year, and like I just
Yeah.
want to be doing some watch stuff right
Yeah.
now, right? So
Yeah. Well, you'll find the
priorities.
headspace and the clarity for it now that you guys have kind of buttoned up some of the structural stuff, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
then you'll have time. And so,
Yeah, so it's
you
gonna
know,
be fun, right? And then you and I talked about, like, you wake up and it's not the same feeling.
It's
Like,
not.
not to criticize the corporate space,
yeah,
but
yeah,
there's a different feeling when you're doing some of the stuff that you're passionate about,
Yeah.
and work
purposeful.
doesn't feel like
Yeah.
work. It feels like, ooh, I get to go. I've got time set up to go talk to these 3 people. What am I going to learn from them?
Yeah.
Like, are they the right people? And that's that's why I talk to my boys about. I'm like, just go talk to 25 people. You might only get one legitimate connection out of that.
Yeah.
But every time you go through a cycle of 25, if you can get one person, think about where you're at in
That's
a year.
it, man. It's
or
a probability
2 years,
game
right?
at the end of the day,
Yeah,
and I
it's, you know,
think that's it.
so it's
No,
fun,
man.
man. I'm having fun.
Yeah, I appreciate. First off, I'm proud of you. You know, for your journey and sharing that with us.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And you know, for us being friends and going through this journey together, man. I appreciate your time today. And I got to switch out my Apple Watch like soon, man. So
we talked about that. We're gonna work on that. We'll, you know, I think that's something as I scale, man. I'd love to, you know, have some walking billboards, right?
I got you.
Get some watches.
I can do that for you,
that
man.
Are in,
you know,
got good
me and
circles
Ethan. I know Ethan's smiling over there. I think he's ready to be a walking billboard too.
But man, that's you know, that's how it starts, right? Like you get your name out there. You get, you know, do good business with people, treat people right. You know, help them avoid these crazy long wait lists in authorized dealers, and you know, you open up their eye to a different way to get a watch versus going into a boutique, or you know, nothing wrong with that, but it's a little different.
Yeah.
They make you wait. They make you earn it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, hey, come buy this jewelry first before we even put you on a watch list. And it's, you know,
no, you're taking
a rough game.
A different approach, a relationship first focused approach, and I think it's gonna do wonders for you guys, man. And so anything I can do to help to make intros, and anybody that's listening right now, reach out to me directly if you're in the market. I will hook you up with my guy Paul. But I wish you guys the best in the future, man. And we'll do this again when you're back in the States. So,
I mean, could we do it virtually too?
We can.
Do a little Spain.
We absolutely can. Yeah, I would love to do that. Like maybe like 6 months from now, just kind of see where you're at, and we'll put that on the docket for sure.
Hopefully, I'll be able to maybe do a little bit of Spanish speaking more
than
what I can today. I mean, I've got a decent amount of words under me, but oh man, it's so fast. They're
the Rosetta Stone.
I'm trying all of them right now, like anything. But immersion, I think, is got to happen.
You just got to wear a watch. I mean, that opens up all conversations. No, I appreciate everybody tuning in today to Why We Build. Please go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, and appreciate you all until the next episode.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Peace.